All right. All right, what's up, Howard? Cool. All right, we're going to get started today. Today's talk is another VeChain update. I'm assuming most people who are tuning in to this, either Discord or YouTube at any point, if they're catching the replay, are not panicking when they're seeing VeChain go down at this point. I imagine people who recently purchased VeChain, kind of just got in, didn't know too much about it, are probably feeling the brunt of the price hit right now and freaking out. Most of the people I know are kind of intuitively grokking that this is an opportunity to purchase it rather than there's some critical flaw related to VeChain and therefore the price is dropping and all is bad, woe is me. Everything is, alas, everything is terrible. That's obviously not what's happening. Just as a reminder for what is happening or some potential ideas as to what could be happening is back on June 30th, well, back on March 20th, there was a snapshot for X nodes, which were these kind of master nodes. If you held a certain amount and kept them in a publicly snapshotable Ethereum wallet, you get various extra bumps. One of them would be an increased Thor generation from any Thor generated by the blockchain that's left over, and various other things like early access to ICOs on the VeChain platform. So there's a lot of stuff you could get. So because of that, back on March, 20th, something like that, a lot of people locked up their nodes, their X nodes, right? Which was originally a strength node, was 10,000 VeChain Ven tokens at that point, and then it was 16,000 for a strength X node, and 6,000 was the minimum level. So a lot of people have been holding those in the wallets until recently. On June 30th, there was another snapshot of the wallet. This is when the VeChain blockchain mainnet went live. When that happened, they also released details that there was a way to bind, essentially prove that you had an X node as you were migrating from the ERC20 tokens, Ven tokens, eventually to the VET tokens. And that manual swap hasn't happened yet on July 17th, but it should be in the next couple of weeks. They'll allow that, and exchanges will hopefully begin exchanging it as well, which I anticipate. And this process has allowed Xnode holders who previously had been locked up, essentially, because they needed to make sure they maintained that certain amount, were free to move it back and forth. So if people wanted to swap their tokens on Binance, they could move them there, have Binance swap them, and then move them back into their VeChain Thor wallet. So that's what's been going on partially. I don't think that's exactly what's to account for the drop in price. I think the lack of expectations, or I think the let's say the incongruency between expectations and reality is probably the biggest thing. I think I've been saying in the Discord server a lot that I don't expect the price to go up when mainnet launches. I still think the main factor for the entire crypto sphere is the price of Bitcoin. So if that is not going up, neither can the price of Bitcoin. But even relative to the Bitcoin price, VeChain has been going down. So we can look at certain factors and analyze things like volume and sell wall and potential manipulation and stuff like that. But I don't think that's really prudent. What is prudent is looking at the current price and saying, well, what should I do here? Do I believe something has changed fundamentally with VeChain? Therefore, this is now a bad price and a bad project, and the price is low, so I better just get out on a sinking ship. There's nothing that I really, truthfully, and I'll bring a couple examples during this talk, but there's absolutely nothing I can find that in any way makes me question what's going on. The flaws, if you will, with VeChain, I've come to terms with a long time ago. One of them is that VeChain really isn't a decentralized cryptocurrency. It's part of a two-token economic model, and it's pretty centralized, right? There's 101 authority nodes, which will likely be enterprise level companies who use the VeChain blockchain. And that means that their decisions probably are going to be put before everyone else's. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If the blockchain runs the way it's supposed to, users will be incentivized by generating Thor and being able to sell it on the open market, where I think this two-token system really shines is exactly that. However, it's not decentralized. That's usually a key function of a blockchain project. However, this isn't something necessarily that is going to liberate everyone from the current economic turmoil of capitalism. It's something that's kind of a bridge, the way I see it, and this is where my investment is made in this way, a bridge between what we have going on now, which is just verifiably unfair, and something that is a little more equitable, but also doesn't just smash everything in this kind of, anarchy type mindset that, we'll just burn everything to the ground and build everything up. I don't think that's feasible either. I think most people probably don't think that's feasible, and we'll see if it happens. But regardless, I believe that this is a solution that VeChain has still really done a great job of positioning themselves with partners. And I think the area, I was talking to my friend about this, I was saying, they picked a good area. And he's like, what area is that? I was like, supply chain logistics. Granted, their scope is much broader than just supply chain logistics, but that is their focus at this point, verifying authenticity from the beginning of a product's inception to the end consumer or whatever steps are in between. And that's incredibly important in terms of just cutting overhead, even potentially helping with the environment if you're able to reroute things in a more efficient manner. Anyway, my point is none of the fundamentals have changed, but it's also important to look at when there's turbulent times like a mainnet launch, token swaps. You want to look how the project managers, the people in charge of this, are acting and what they're doing. So to their credit, VeChain just released, first of all, a week and a half ago, they put out, we're doing a Reddit AMA. We're going to gather all your questions, your concerns, all of your problems that you're going to, potentially be running into. We're going to gather those questions and we're going to put out a post on Medium addressing as many of them we can, and the ones that we hear are the biggest ones. And they went ahead and did that. And so there's a post, we have it up in the Discord server. I'll try to, I don't know if I can retroactively add it. I probably can on YouTube. I'll add the link to this article. And they address most people's concerns, namely, what about ledger support? When is that coming? X nodes? Why are we using the hex, the 10.0x protocol like Ethereum? They answer all of these questions and more. They talk about VVID, the authentication. They make it clear that even if you're a U.S. citizen, there's no restrictions on holding an X node. It has nothing to do with an ICO. However, legal restrictions will prohibit people from participating on ICOs. If they're in their countries, they can't do that. My point is that they're answering all of these questions as openly and honestly, and it's about as smooth of a transition as you can expect. You have to remember, this is a new blockchain that they're now switching off of Ethereum. We're going to see this more and more over the coming years. One of the reasons I'm not particularly keen on Ethereum long term, although I do think it's going to be successful for a while, is because you're going to see a lot of these projects that are viable branch off and actually launch. And that's going to come with some inherent challenges. And I think the way the team responds and deals with that is another key confidence builder for me in this project. So in terms of price, right now, let's see what we're looking at. I think we are at $1.83 in fiat, and I think 27,000 Satoshis, well off the high water mark of 75,000 or whatever it was way back when, and continuing to lose value even on days such as the 16th where most things gained value. Now, Bitcoin has been going up slowly but surely. We'll see if it can maintain. But I do expect VeChain to continue to lose on Bitcoin amidst turbulence and volatility of the uncertainty of the token swap. And I think this is an amazing time to start buying, rebuying, averaging down, probably not averaging up, averaging down into VeChain. This is an opportunity. If you already have a node, you can pad it. If you don't have a node, you can start working up to it. Am I suggesting you take all of your money and just flood it into VeChain all at once? Definitely not. But I have been advising to a lot of clients that this is a good time to scale in. This is a really good time to dollar cost average in. If you have buys at $2.20, if you have some at 50 cents, it's still a very good price. Nothing has changed fundamentally. I haven't seen anything that says this is not a good project. There's some critical flaw here. Something has changed based on what they said or some of their partners. No, they still have partnerships with DNVGL and PwC and a lot of other basically enterprise-focused companies with a lot of potential applications of what VeChain is offering. So Not to mention, just when it comes to VTHO, the Thor generation, that's going to happen sooner than people think. As soon as you have VET tokens in your Thor wallet, you will retroactively be compensated for all the Thor that you'll be generating. Same with Ledger people. So there's a whole other element of passive income here that if the price of VeChain goes up or the price of Thor goes up and you're able to generate significantly more because you're getting when the price is not all that expensive or costly, I should say, not a bad move. So that's been my personal approach, and that's what I've been telling most of my clients. And the main thing is just like no one's freaking out. Who kind of knows what's going on. Like, yes, this could fail. We're not blind to that. This project could be doomed. It could be a terrible catastrophe that just doesn't pan out. It could be a scam. It's probably not. It's a very elaborate scam, but it could fail. So it's not that any of this is foolproof. It's just looking at the fundamentals. It's all good. There's that kind of ironic graph where people are showing the incredible volatility of price movement, whether it's stocks, commodities, whatever it is. And, the fundamentals remain the same. That's a good thing in times like this. Nothing has changed. That should give you confidence that all is going to be well, unless we see some crack in the foundation that's like, one of the reasons that I still really love VeChain is just I like the way they deal with stuff. I like the way the community tends to deal with stuff, and I like the way the people who are running it really tend to deal with stuff. So that's my little VeChain spiel today. If you have any questions in the Discord, Howard, just you today, feel free to ask those and I'll address them after I sign off on YouTube, which is now Cryptosync on Synchronicity, blah, blah, blah. You can find that at syncpodcast.com. There's also a podcast there, other stuff. We talk crypto and other things. All right. Bye-bye.